Earning isn't enough. Financial voice must. That's today's topic. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this session with CLHR today. This is an interesting topic. I think extremely important. We have chosen this theme earning isn't enough, why women must have a financial voice. Because in the course of our work with so many corporates in India and in different parts of the world, we see the value and the talent that women bring to the workforce. However, due to several reasons, societal or socio-economical or various other reasons, maybe sometimes very deeply held biases in the society, women don't seem to have been able to unleash their full potential. And just one of those dimensions is the financial voice. So we are going to talk more about it just to share some information with our viewers. So today, as of December 2025, some statistics I'm sharing, the labor force participation rate for women in India has reached to 35%. This is rising to over 40% in rural areas. So this brings us to the point that earning is happening. More and more women are taking part in the workforce. But do they have the financial voice? So about 145 million women are going to be part of this workforce by 2047. So our attempt now through this session is to bring out certain deeply held inner beliefs in ourselves, sometimes amongst women, sometimes amongst men, sometimes among people who are in positions of power and influence, to lead the way for us that how women can really be an important component in not only in the workforce but in the society across all walks of life. So I've got a fantastic panel of experts with me, people like all of us in CLHR, those who have been in the human resources domain, who have worked across industry sectors, who have dealt with people across various walks of life across generations. Probably today in the workforce there are people of multiple generations. So uh, I have four of them, extremely accomplished professionals. Let me introduce them briefly. So I have Anjali Sasdev, who's Chief Human Resources Officer at Globe Dental. I think a very popular brand. All of us know about it. With about 3 decades of experience in strategic and business HR across industries in FMCG, consumer durables, logistics, manufacturing. So very rich experience that she brings to the table in large-scale transformation initiative, organization design, talent strategy, and so on. Then Dr. Sunanda Banerjee, who is the founder of Co-Emerge, a leadership coach, TEDx speaker, and an independent director with about 17 years of experience across diverse industries. She helps organizations strengthen the leadership and human capital development. Now I come to Shilpi Chabra. She's there with us. Delighted to have her. She's the Chief Human Resources Officer at Integers.ai. All of us keep talking about AI, and here we have CHRO from an AI company. So bringing over 20 years of experience across large enterprises and startups, has led several initiatives in business transformation, HR strategy, and people leadership. We have Ekta Ghanshyam with us, Global Talent Acquisition Leader at Hexnode, bringing over 20 years of experience in building and scaling talent acquisition functions across startups as well as global enterprises, large-scale hiring initiatives, AI-driven talent strategies, and diverse leadership pipeline building experience that she brings to the table. You'll see here people who have seen life. Amongst the four panel members, I can see roughly about 90 years of combined experience, having worked in, and they come from different parts of the country. Someone is from Chennai, someone is in Bangalore, two of them are from NCR region of our country. I think we bring a very rich experience to the table. So without spending any more time, I think let me jump in. Let me start this conversation just for our purposes. Maybe I'll start with Anjali, then I'll go to Sunanda, and then to Shilpi, and then to Ekta. So we'll follow the sequence so that it's easy for our conversation. So let me start with a very simple aspect that today many women are earning well, like we shared some statistics with people, but uh, they're building strong careers as well. Right on this our panel, four of them extremely successful people in their careers. Yet we notice that financial decisions at homes are often not taken, not influenced enough by women. There are probably some traditional dynamics at play. So my question to Anjali to begin with, then I'll come to Sunanda, is in your experience, is there a turning point when women start to assert themselves, their financial voice, perhaps a career milestone or some leadership role or something of that kind? There is a turning point which changes their behaviors. If you can first start with why it happens and then what's the turning point, it will be useful to start.
Thank you so much, Aditya. First of all, as we were discussing, very, very relevant topic, because somewhere, it has been there inbuilt in the society that women are not good in are not good in making financial decisions, and therefore, since it was embedded in us since our childhood, we never took initiative in even taking decision after getting married also, after getting gainfully employed. So I was looking at a couple of statistics in India. Even today, only 50% women take financial decisions independently. Independently, when I say independently, means it's my decision. Otherwise, it's always decision influenced by father, brother, or husband. Majority of time, if it is a married woman, it's by husband. I was looking at global figure also. I think there are around 70% women who are taking this decision independently globally. But India, though we have seen a lot of change, it has come to 50%, but there's a long way to go. So, what I saw, the transition I saw over a period of time, and I will relate it to my life. So, of course, in the beginning when we were not earning, there's nothing to do with investment. Of course, our relatives used to come and they used to give us money, and we had a small piggy bank. We used to put it there. Majority of time, that money was taken away by our moms, and she never gave it back. So but that habit was built in. Good thing about Indian society is that women of the house, they used to put money somewhere, right, and at the right time it used to come out. And particularly at demonetization time, a lot of money came out which was hidden in the box of pulses or something in the kitchen, and huge money came out. So that's how, people, the women had that inherent desire to be financially independent, but somewhere it was put in their mind that they are not capable. But as we started getting gainfully employed and we started growing in our career, we started realizing our inherent qualities that we can do it. And that's how, as we started growing, so initially, we started with the more conservative savings and all. And it was all, the husband took care of the decision. But as we grew in our career further, then a time came when this realization struck that yes, I should have that independence of taking financial decision myself. And that's when, I will relate it to my life, that there was a time, 5 or 6 years ago, my colleague pushed me into investment into SIP, and I was not serious. So I delayed that decision for maybe another 4 or 5 months, and then he pushed me into it. And I really thank him that today I've been able to build a good corpus because of his pushing me. Why it was not coming on my own? Because maybe I was not really training myself or not getting exposed to that side of aspect. But I think very, very important for women to understand what is their capability, what are the avenues open, empower them, and ensure that there are right decisions taken by them independently, so that they are not dependent on anyone. And this is what I
Great.
feel it has come to us. Yeah.
Right. So what Anjali is saying is essentially it's because of some deeply held beliefs that women are not capable, and the turning point happens to be someone who just comes as a sort of a friend, philosopher, guide, or someone who shows the way, and it sounds uh, logical or sounds compelling, and hence one starts building that financial voice. That's what Anjali is trying to say. I'll come to Sunanda. Sunanda, what do you think about this? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, thank you, Aditya. I think Anjali has put it so beautifully. It's going to be a lovely task to add to that. All the two things that I see, especially pertinent to your question about milestones and how they have a role to play. So I'll keep it specific to that. So now, primarily that caregiver versus nurturer theory that has been in the society forever, where money or anything that's been earned is has been case long long ago, which was just restricted to male, and the female was taking care of the household. Of course things changed over 100 years ago, to be honest. If you look at the data, women have been in the farming space for since farming has actually started. Industrial revolution post that as well, with factories manufacturing, that's continued. Now having said that, uh, it's more than confidence. Of course the narrative changed somewhere almost 100 years ago, when cultures, industries shifted. With that, as far as milestones are concerned, when women start career, there is a lot of credibility that they're looking to establish. In that space, money is not exactly what they would be able to focus on, be it about negotiating in salaries, be it about asking for a raise, be it about having basically a financial voice in that stage. And with that, what happens is, because we are so eager to prove that competence, so we don't negotiate value for that. Because for us, maybe having a seat is enough. Whether a voice comes with that or not is not really a concern at that point of time. But with time, as our career milestone changes, and we become part of, as individuals, we become part of more important phases in life or stages in life as we move ahead. That's where it starts hitting of, where do I stand in terms of finances, where do I stand in terms of with that space of decision making when it comes to financial spaces. Now participating in that has been something that both side, I would not blame one side, but both men and women, men being comfortable with numbers, data apparently as a thought process, and hence being restricted on that side. And women again also started taking it as, okay, let's keep it siloed. But with that silo, what also happened is, there is a break in confidence, there is a break in that, and kind of a dip in their space of belief system about themselves, of being able to take decisions around it. So
Yeah.
while managing budgets, and in fact, it's not even restricted to mid-level or entry-level roles. I have seen, while coaching leadership, women who are VPs and above, who would, and I was just discussing that before we went live, about how they would not even be very clear of how are the salaries managed, because there's somebody at home, somebody else who's managing their salaries, investments, and they hardly have clue where all the money is going. Which is, and in fact, even things like, what tax slab do I fall in if I have all these deductions done. So this is such a small step for us to be able to take, and we are not doing that enough. And hence I think that's also taking away the sense of comfort, credibility, and confidence in ourselves to say, what exactly, even despite I'm taking responsibility of a large organization's unit and department or division, I'm not taking enough responsibility of my own money. So
Yes.
this line that I was reading somewhere, that more than financial independence, financial voice actually makes more of a difference because you're able
Right.
to do something about it.
Absolutely. Very well put. That rather than the financial independence, it's the financial voice. That means you are making a decision. So well said, Sunanda. I think both our panelists are saying more or less same thing, that it's about the some beliefs or biases which probably we need to really shape that and remove that over a period of time. It's not going to happen like in a digital process of just switch on a light and switch, put the switch on and the light glows. It doesn't work that way. It's a gradual process. Good that we are holding this conversation, adding to a lot of conversations which are happening. So let's go one level down, one level below it. So what's causing this kind of a belief, and at what point in time the turning point is coming? So I'm wondering now. I'll come to Shilpi, and followed by Ekta. So let's go to the next level of confidence. Sunanda spoke about confidence. Well, for many women professionals, income growth, financial stability are linked with the career journey that people take, right? As their career experiences, responsibilities, power, authority, some of these things keep increasing, their social standing increasing, recognition increasing in the society, in their families. So are there some triggers, or are there some turning points like this which shape a woman's confidence? Is there a way that we can shape the confidence much early in their career? Can it be shaped from schools? Can it be shaped from colleges? Can it be shaped at our homes? That is what I'm wondering. First question,
Absolutely.
and then I'll come to Ekta. Yes.
Thank you for asking that question, Aditya. So yeah, I absolutely agree that this has to be start pretty early, right? Now, in a way, it's true that the financial voice often grows, right, with our career milestones, like the speakers were talking about earlier, right? So moving from earning a salary to managing teams, budgets, or businesses, right? So these somewhere naturally teaches the strategic thinking about money, right? But sometimes it's not just the career growth, right? It is circumstances, responsibilities that shapes your voice, right? I mean, if I have to talk about myself, for me, the idea of having a financial voice started very early in my career, right? I began working in 2006, 2 decades back, right? That time, the tax slabs in India were quite different. I'm sure this panel can relate, right? So even with a relatively modest salary, right, you start investing early just to save taxes, right? So like many young professionals, my initial motivation was simply tax saving, right? What does that mean now? Is a thought process that how much should I invest this year to reduce my tax liability, right? Now, what happened for me, I mean, again, I'm just relating to my childhood days. I mean, there's a deeper reason that shaped my thinking about money, right? I was about, I think, 12 or 13 years old, and I saw my parents giving up on their own home because of some difficult financial decisions, right? And that experience kind of stayed with me, okay? And so when I started earning at 21, I had one clear goal, right? To have a home early in life. And about 3 years in my career, I reviewed my savings. I looked at the shares I had through my company's employee stock purchase plan. I started putting together a more meaningful financial plan, right? I went ahead and told my boyfriend, now he's my husband, that, this is what I'm doing. I want to invest in a house. And he said, yeah, we just started working. It's hardly any money. I said, no, I've done the planning. I'm going to sell off my share purchase plan and my shares. And, I think we'll be able to do this. And then we just went ahead. And by 2010, just about 4 years in my first job, we bought our first home. Right. So what I'm trying to say here, Aditya, that experience for me was a turning point, right? it showed me that uh, earning money is one thing, yeah, but having the confidence to plan, right, to make decisions, to act on them is what truly gives you a financial voice, right? It's less about how much you earn, but it is more about taking the ownership of your choices.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Shilpi, for sharing some personal examples. They're deeply insightful. In Shilpi's case, what gave her the confidence is probably a kind of a negative experience, not a great experience early in the life, which made her strong and made her realize, which she would have realized probably much later in her life. So that's the point. Yeah, Ekta.
So I think it's just not for women, right? I think it is for men also. The turning point, Aditya, I believe, comes in when they realize that when you earn and you just think about today, it's just about how do I take care of my expenses, right? Um, but going one step ahead and thinking, hey, how am I going to own this money that I have earned, right? And that I need to start owning it and not just earning for the sake of spending. I believe that's kind of a turning point for a lot of people when they really start thinking about investing, or having a financial voice. So I think, what I'm seeing is the younger generation now is probably thinking more about how do I own, how do I invest, rather than the generation of the past, maybe, where we only used to think, hey, how do I go earn to take care of these expenses? I believe there's a big change from that perspective, and also, I think also the availability of information plays a big part over here. I think earlier it was a lot to do with do if I do this, will it be a huge risk? How do I go about it? I'm not an expert. Where do I start? Vis-a-vis now, having access to information, I think that's a huge bonus. And I think that also is probably a huge blessing to not just the generation now, but also to people like us who probably may have started a little later in life. But now we understand that we have knowledge and we have information at our disposal. And how do we really go about it? I think these are two probably important instruments to having a financial voice as well.
Yeah, great points, Ekta. Thank you. I think she is talking about a very interesting concept of owning it. Earlier, I think Sunanda Ranjali spoke about, probably Sunanda spoke about this concept of uh, caregiver, provider. That's the kind of deeply held belief. From there, the transition is that this is the earning that I am owning, and hence I should be able to decide what to do with it now and for the future. And the second point that it brought us to the fore is about the democratization of information, which is today very, very easily available, and the same information is available to a lot of people. How do they interpret it? How do they take it forward? Great points. Thank you. So probably in the schools and colleges, we need to really tell our young children that they need to treat money not as for someone else. This earning is for someone else to be given as a care or given as nurturance for someone else, but it is for me and my responsibility towards my family and for myself. I think that's a great transition that can happen. Thanks for bringing that up. Now I'll go a little faster. So two more questions, that two dimensions we will unravel. One for Anjali, another for Sunanda, and then probably we'll do some rapid fire round and end it up with that. So the next question I want to bring up is about highly successful professionals. Okay, even among them, we see difference between earning well and feeling confident about the financial decision making. Some of you already spoke about it, that even if they're earning good amount of money. They don't know, is it too risky? Do I have enough information? Should I at all do it, etc.? That's the point that you all have already spoken about. So question to Anjali is that uh, why do you think that this confidence gap even exists at very senior level of professionals, even among very educated and financially independent women?
Um, Indeed, it's a reality today.
Yeah.
Of course, the people have grown in terms of their career graph. They have started making more money, but the confidence was not there for making right investment decisions because there was financial illiteracy, and it is only lack of interest. Not that women cannot learn. It's all about making an effort. So here, like it was very easy to pass it or delegate this to other members of the family to take decisions on their behalf. And when you don't have that knowledge, then of course there is no confidence. And when there is no confidence, you have no financial voice. I think a very, very pertinent or important point coming out of this discussion is that we should start this education from school. We don't have this in school, means I'm not saying from kindergarten, but at least when kids are in 11th or 12th, they should start understanding, what is financial investment, what are these decisions, because it was never taught. It was not even taught in the colleges. It was
Yep.
only learned when colleagues were discussing कि invest कर ले यार, इधर invest कर ले उधर. So that's how the decisions were taken. आज ये stock market में बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है, यहाँ डाल दो. So that's not the way the structured investment should be done. Therefore, I think it's important that it is built into our structure in our education system. And then the women have to also make an extra effort to become financially literate. And I'm sure we can do it. Not that we cannot do it. It's not about not looking at pay slips. One of my panelists is talking about. Actually, true. Even I don't look at my pay slip because it's sheer laziness. Okay, we'll see. Like somebody say, "Oh, ma'am, I paid you." My payroll guy will say, "Sorry, we made extra deduction. I had not even checked." So this is what is the situation. Yeah, of course, we are time bound. We are really having shortage of time, because there's so many projects going on. But at the same time, this is a critical decision and critical point to be taken care of. So therefore, like this is not the aspect which can be left for tomorrow. It should be today, right now, right here, and built-in
Right.
education and women taking initiative for learning the financial investments.
Yeah, but
Right.
this was good, I think, pretty much for men as well, right? I mean, they reach out to financial advisors, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, we know it's not a rocket science, right? Financial empowerment is not a rocket science, right? I mean, it's a learnable.
But
It's a
somehow,
learnable.
it's felt that the women do take initiative. I mean, I've seen, even in my office, I will say the guy, I look at a group of men, they will be discussing about stock market and all. There'll be only 5 or 10% of women who are discussing about stock market. The rest is,
So
rest are discussing
we need to
the new
normalize those
dresses.
conversation. Yeah. I mean, it's no longer should be treated as not for women skill. I mean, that was a
Yeah,
tradition.
exactly.
It's
And
not
that's
an
what
exclusive. Yeah, it's not an exclusive domain. Financial voice is not exclusive for men. I think that's the point, which is a greater awareness which needs to be created. That's the point. Okay, the next question for Sunanda. Again, I'll go another part of it, which is the sort of shift which is happening compared to previous generations. A lot of things have shifted very rapidly and is shifting, and probably more shifts are going to happen. Earlier people said behaviors and thinking change in 10 to 12 years. Now it is like 3 to 4 years. We had Gen X, Gen Y, whatever, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, all kind of things, and the shift is happening more rapidly. So with this rapidly shift taking place, particularly we spoke about highly placed senior women. Now let's talk about younger women.
Right.
Younger women professionals, how their approach is towards financial decision making. Do you see any shift compared to the earlier generation? So, question for Sunanda, and others feel free to jump in and add to her points. Then we'll come to rapid fire.
Thank you, Aditya. It's very interesting how there is so much on LinkedIn that we also end up reading about Gen Z, and they're like this and that, and in terms of work ethics and timelines and balance. But one thing that, because you asked this, it's a serendipity that just today I read this post about somebody bashing Gen Z and saying that we were so serious about our work, we used to worship our work, and these people don't have that. It's about, I think one of the panelists also talked about boundaries. So this generation is very much aware that how previous generations have suffered because of lack of boundaries. Because we said yes to work at 7 p.m. despite knowing there is dinner pending at home to be done, and frantically getting calls from the other end, but still driving faster to reach, because we couldn't draw a boundary there. And same for weekends, same for not asking for a raise, or if given a 12% and saying, yeah, okay, that's fine. Not saying, why not try for a 14? Why not just say 15 for the heck of saying it, right? And seeing where it lands. So for this generation, when it comes to financial voice, as you mentioned, Aditya, they are very clear about two things. One, uh, because the boundary piece comes in play, they are very clear of that I can discuss in terms of salaries, in terms of work-life balance, in terms of where is this money getting invested or spent, either of it. So that confidence around money is more. I think I would not even completely blame the last generation. I mean, us and before is this set of responsibilities were very different. Our parents' generation was more about survival. They had to run a family because there was no base to start with. Everything had to be done from scratch. Education, and genuinely, when they say हम पहाड़ चढ़ के गए थे पढ़ाई करने नदी पार करके, lot of them was true because it was hard time. There were struggles. With us, we had some base of a family where we could get food 2 times a day and a shelter over our heads. So we knew we could talk about security. Now, this generation, because they have at least all those basics in place, and hence they can talk about financial freedom. But with that, it would be prudent for us, to tell our children, to tell our younger siblings or the next generation about prudent financial decisions. So when we talk about starting early for schools and colleges, it's also great if women leaders, like Anjali, like Shilpi, like Ekta, to go and talk to their younger colleagues and ask about how are they managing their money, how are they mentoring about financial agency. So if they are confident about money, are they also confident about managing that money well, growing that money well, right? So confidence shaping how that money grows. So be it active conversations, active participation with their families, with their advisors about financial discussions, starting early wealth habits. And I won't take long. I would like, really, this is a great example. I'm sure a lot of us would benefit with this. I saw this video. I'm forgetting, I'm unable to give the credit, but this gentleman, he talks about 3 jars to start early investment habits for kids and teenagers. Said if you're giving $5 to kid weekly for as pocket money, tell them and attach it to a chore, any chores in the household. When you attach it, there's a sense of earning. Now with that, you tell them to put $1 to give away at the end of the month, to give any person who needs it, $2 to keep it for the next month and add on, so that they can take that money 6 months later, and rest too, that they can enjoy by whatever they want to spend on. So you are inculcating 4 habits together: sense of earning, investment, giving, like giving back to the society, and being able to still enjoy your wealth and not completely worry about. So this
Very
is, and
nice.
I think it applies to us, all of adults as well, right? If we
Yeah,
can break it in that proportion.
absolutely. Very nice. Nicely put across by that gentleman in that video. So thanks, Sunanda, for bringing that to our audience. I see a lot of questions from a lot of conversations of the audience about the points that we are picking up, talking. Somebody has said that the government policymakers should bring in syllabus. People are talking about it. Then somebody is talking about India in 2047. If it has to happen, then the desire is that India should, financial literacy should be for all of us. And I think other people are sort of commenting on it. So that's nice engagement that I can see. So Ekta, Shilpi, anything that you want to add to what what Sunanda said about the younger women, or we'll get into the rapid fire?
No, I think we can get into the rapid fire. What do you say, Shiv?
All right. I think just a quick overview of what we have said for our viewers so far. We are saying that more and more women are coming into the labor force, participating in the workforce, which is good and it is rapidly increasing. We must all encourage. Secondly, we are saying that, however, there are various kind of socially deeply held beliefs which need to be unsacred. Today, they are very deeply held. The third point that we are saying, that the younger people are challenging, have started challenging that. That's good about it. A good thing we are noticing. We need to really facilitate this movement in the sense of owning the earnings, while holding on to the goodness of the old belief of somebody being nurturing, somebody giving care, while those have got their own goodness. We don't have to really throw those away, because this is not mutually exclusive. It is not that somebody who's a caregiver has to sacrifice all the sacrifice the financial voice. It can be, and so that's the point that I think our panelists have made. So let me do a very quick round. So this question, of course, there are 4 questions, and all 4 of you have to speak very briefly, 1 sentence, 1 word, whatever. So what does a financial voice truly mean to you? That's the question. Let's start Anjali, Sunanda, Shilpi, Ekta. So go in that sequence. Yes, Anjali.
Freedom to take decision myself.
Financial voice. All right. Sunanda.
This is quite tricky. I was not prepared for this. I think
I had to also quickly make it.
I think financial voice would be more about taking charge of things, and that sense of contentment of doing something. When I'm earning that money, I'm able to use it well around.
Yeah. You already talked about 4 dimensions now. So nice. Yeah. So it's about enjoying that wealth. Yeah, Shilpi.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, it's having the confidence, knowledge, right, and the voice itself. I mean, to make decision around money, right? And I feel if women have that voice, it not just change their own lives, but it strengthens the families, communities, and shapes a more secure future of the generation.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like you could buy a house at an early stage because of that rational thinking and planning for it. Superb. Ekta.
So I think for me, financial voice is having a say in not just what I am earning, but I think at the table in the home, but also at the table in the office. I think that truly would be a financial voice for me at both the places.
Right, right. There are a lot of comments.
I just want to add, Aditya. Actually, when you have that financial voice, you have a different level of confidence. And when you have that confidence, people can also feel. And when they feel, they want to learn from you. And then they start, I won't say copying, but they start benchmarking your practices. And this is what I think we should do. We should set an example for others also, so that they also come into the same category of feeling secure and confident.
Yeah.
I see a lot of comments coming in. Actually, there is someone who is saying, being a Gen Z myself, I believe rather than imposing something on the newer generation, making them understand the sensibility and importance of anything particular. So is talking about independently thinking for oneself. I think very interesting comments. I can see loads of comments coming in. Thank you. So I'll go to the next question. Yeah, sorry, Shilpi, you were saying something.
I just want to add to that comment. I mean, so it's not about imposing, right? I mean, to be very honest, if I have to speak about myself, I don't understand that funds, wealth management, or greatest investment, that exists, right? But it's all about learning, right? And again, to my point earlier, that's the reason financial advisors are. One thing is, yes, we have to start investing in ourselves and learning, you know, around these topics. But there is no harm in reaching out for help. Yeah. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So let me also thank all these participants who have been giving comments. I can see S. Puttaraju, Shivangi Jha, Makesh S, Parul Kicha, and many others who have been giving a lot of comments. Okay, the second question. Name one habit that helps women take control of their finances. One habit. I'm sure there are many, but just pick one and say, looking at the payslip. Starting with Anjali, Sunanda, then Shilpi, Ekta.
Yeah, I get trapped because I'm
I
starting
was
with.
about to say, Anjali,
I was still processing the question. But one habit I think will be really to understand, how much you're earning and what you should really save in terms of, like your investment. There should be, clear categorization of your income, that this is what I'm going to spend on household, this is what is my investment, and being very clear about it. And that becomes your systematic way of doing investment. I think
Okay.
that will be very, very critical for me.
Right. Sunanda, one
yeah.
habit.
Yeah, Aditya. I feel engagement and participation. What I mean by that is with your family, with whoever is managing finances as of now for you, or even if you're doing it yourself with your family, your trusted advisor, to say engagement about basically discussion about money, and participation means starting small but still knowing that if you are, let's say, buying a car, you're not there only to choose color, but you can also Google and check what are the models available, what is the price, why it's priced like this, read the reviews, basically trying to educate yourself. And then, because confidence will only come when we are prepared and educated, that's where the challenge comes, because we are fearing knowing about it and hence never engaging ahead. So yeah,
Right.
that would
Right.
be.
Okay. Shilpi.
yeah, so I think all of us agree that we are great at savings, right? I mean, we have cracked that space very well, and I mean, way back from our mother's era to us, right? So that space, I think, is something we've tapped it brilliantly. But I think wealth management is a space where we need to catch up, right? Investment itself, I don't think we really understand which are the right investments to make. So one habit I would call out is to explore that space, the wealth management and the investment itself. Yeah.
Right. Ekta.
Yeah, so I think one habit that has always worked for me, and what I think would be great, is to understand what do you have, where does it need to go. What I essentially mean is, what do you earn, where do you need to spend, where is the household spending, and what is it that we have, and how do we really go about investing it. I think as a whole, understanding finances, and like I mentioned, active decision making person, I think that kind of would be a good habit to go ahead with.
Right. Right. Good. So I'll come to the last question in the rapid fire, third question, and we'll end it here. So the best advice you have ever received about earning, saving, investing, the best advice, anything, either about earning or saving or investing.
Here I can start.
Yes, please.
I spoke about this in my first question, when I was answering the
Yeah.
first question, that it came from my colleague who forced me into investment. And frankly
Exactly.
speaking, I had not even SIP, and I was not even aware, how the money will multiply. So
Right.
I told him, I say it has to be very conservative. I should not lose, and this. So therefore, the need to understand short term, long term, mid term, mid cap, all that is very important for us to understand. So it should not be just a forced investment, but it should be by design.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful to that colleague of mine who forced me into it. Yeah.
Right. Great. Great. Thank you. Sunanda.
Yeah. You won't believe, but that came from my grandmother. Uh, May
Wow.
she rest in peace. It's been 18 years. She's not here, but she was the one who inculcated this in entire family, all the women in the family. She said, and I'll also translate for non-Hindi speakers, but she said, it's not about feminism. It's not about women greater than men. And at that time, I'm talking about like 20 years ago, she used to say this. It's not about better or worse. It's about सबका हाथ ऐसे रहना चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं. So that means you should be always in a position where you don't have to ask for things that you need tomorrow. Your necessities should not have to be asked. You should be able to manage that. So all the women in the family, she forced kind of all the women in the family to go out and work. Because she was also a working woman, and that's where I realized it's not about earning a lot or it's about more money less. It's about that sense of belief also in yourself when you step out of the home, or when whatever you do, whatever little that you make, that money is a matter of your own choices, your own decisions, and hence
Yeah.
that sense of control, a sense of charge of your life that you feel when you earn
Yeah,
better.
absolutely. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Shilpi.
Yeah. So for me, it's my mother, right? I mean, unlike my father, who used to be a very spendthrift guy, and whatever you want, you will get it, kinds of, childhood. But then my mother was very particular that beta, just because you can afford it, just don't go ahead and buy it, right? Learn to value money, where to spend, when to save, because that is one during the bad times it will come handy. And
Awareness.
kind of awareness, right? So that came from her, and I have kind of till today I'm like that. So even if I'm getting some good discounts on Amazon, why not? I just go with friends.
Okay. All right, Ekta. We'll end
So for
with
me,
you.
I think it was more of seeing someone do it than even hearing it from someone or someone telling me to do it. I think at my workplace, especially at my previous workplace, when I saw someone very actively involved and very actively advocating and doing it, I think that kind of was actually the seed for me to really start thinking seriously about it. So yeah, I think that was the starting point.
Great, great, great. Thank you. So I think thank you so much to all our panelists for sharing the thoughtful perspectives. I think today it's an important shift that we highlighted, that financial independence is just not about earning, it's about shaping financial decisions at home and in society. It's participating in an economy, taking pride in participating in it, and really owning the uh, financial freedom in a very responsible manner. So thank you very much for everyone who logged in to.
Aditya, there is a question someone has asked in the comment. I think it would be great if we could answer that.
Okay.
In societies, girls are still discouraged from talking about financial decisions. How do we change that mindset?
Yeah, wow, this is a good question. That she's talking about the same deeply held biases that in our society that we have. So, if anybody can respond very briefly, or all of you can respond very briefly, and we'll end with that.
Aditya,
Yeah.
I have been part of a mission. It's called Gram Pathshala, where we used to go to different villages and encourage people to start libraries in the in the panchayat ghar. So each village has a panchayat ghar, which is grossly misused. So that's the place where we used to basically motivate. The influential people of society or the village to open library where kids can study. So not only kids, even the girls, so boys and girls put together. And that was the place where they were preparing for their competition. And they used to, if you look at typical villages today, there are big houses, but there is lack of environment. There is no support. So after school, there is no support for education. So there are no tuitions and all. So ultimately, what is happening? They are wasting their time going to different places. So we used to really encourage them to start these pathshalas in their villages, and we could really multiply those to a huge number. So I think if this kind of dilemma is being faced, because I thought, with the with the digitization and so much of awareness, people know about it. But if that's becoming a limitation, I think we have to use such kind of platform where we can really encourage these girls to learn more about financial literacy, so that they also start developing the financial voice.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you,
Small
Anjali.
piece to
Yeah,
add here, Aditya, if I may,
yes,
which I saw going around in social media circles as well. And I think that's one platform that we utilized very well. These days, every nook and corner of the country, smallest of villages and tier 3 cities, tier 2, everybody has access to platforms like Instagram. So even through social media, these girls where even literacy is low, right? Education number is low, but still they have access to social media. There itself, there are these apps and various platforms where they can start with investing 10 rupees, 15 rupees, 20 rupees, which are mock investment platforms. If these people who have access to that kind of smaller sachets of money, as we call it, and that exposure and those tutorials to these young girls, young boys can be given, that can be a huge enabler in utilizing also that time in a more productive way while accessing social media, when if they're able to manage those small amounts of money. So I think that's a wonderful place to start in small places.
thank you, thank you. So we have we planned for about 40 minutes or so. We have now taken about 52 minutes, but I think it has been very deep discussions, thoughtful discussion. I believe that we are leaving some interesting thoughts behind amongst our viewers. Again, thank you very much for panelists, and I can see a lot of engagement of this particular topic from the viewers. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Look forward to our
Thanks,
future
Aditya.
conversations.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for having
Thank you so
us.
much.
Thanks. Wonderful
Yeah.
discussion.
Really.
Thank you, everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.